Good evening, everybody. Nice Monday night. Myself and Ben are here to bring you the July Outturn preview tasting. Yes, we are a week late. It should have been last week, but the 4th of July was last week. And I've got a separate screen running. Not anymore.
Well, I don't think we're late. I think we're exactly on time, but we're also in uniform, which is a total. I just want to throw this out there before we get started on this epic whiskey tasting journey. Yes, let's just get this out of the way. Scott and I are wearing the same shirt, and it is unplanned. Actually, it's not the same shirt. Your V is much deeper than mine.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Nonetheless, this is a total coincidence. We found this out just when we got back, and we're not at the point of caring enough to have someone change. So you got the team right here.
Blue V-necks.
Blue V-necks in July. Yeah. You thought about that when you got dressed today? Were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I just reached for something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah. So here we are, July Outturn. Yes, typically it's the first Tuesday of every month, but as Scott mentioned, because of the holiday last week, we pushed back the release of the July Outturn, but we've got 5 whiskeys tonight. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, we probably have 15 or more than 15 whiskeys dropping tomorrow, I would say. Is that right? Something like that.
Yep.
I have to go back and look at the selection. But Scott and I chose 5. Why did we choose these 5? I don't know. I think they sounded appealing, unique, some of them, and I think others maybe kind of similar. It's always fun to taste single cask whiskeys that are sort of distilled on the same date, matured in the same cask, and really noting the subtle nuances between the two. So I think there are a couple, maybe just one, that's a little bit more familiar with what we've been seeing recently from the society. But we got some others in here that I'm pretty stoked for, because things we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. And a couple distilleries that we don't see too many releases from. So,
yeah, I'm looking over here not to get ahead, but so we'll do all 5. We'll taste all these again. All these are dropping tomorrow. If you're watching live, it's tomorrow, Tuesday, which is July. What is the day today? Today's the 10th. Tuesday, July 11th. Yep. And again, it's all of our whiskeys are for members. We needed some of those sweet members only jackets. Remember those?
Hell yeah.
What was that? That was like that was a 90s thing, right? 80s. That was an 80s thing.
Yep. Members only. I had one.
I don't know where to take this from here. Anyway,
I was around in the 80s.
We don't have jackets, but we have whiskey for members. Anyway, if you're not a member, love to have you join us. But let's get down to business.
I would just real quick. I would say members only jackets are about the same time frame as rat tails. I never had a rat tail, so
I don't believe that you didn't. You can't prove that you didn't. So,
there's no photos. There's no proof of me with one. We can put it that way as well.
Yeah. I think it's worth noting before we get started in this pretty crazy lineup that we have 5 whiskeys, 4 of which are bottled at a natural cask strength over 60%. So if you're into the high strength whiskeys, man, this is the night for you. If you're not, well, just add water. And I think it's kind of funny. Maybe we shouldn't reveal this. There's no secrets here. We both had a warm up dram. Scott had a glass of Glenmorangie G10 just to get the palate warmed up, and mentioned, what did you accidentally reach for one of them? That's a 60-some% peated whiskey.
Yeah. Well, I was going to tease everybody, just telling them mine is labeled as the original. Whoever figure out what the original is, and that's what my warm up is.
Oh, that's what I just said. Glenmorangie G10. Yeah, you're right. It's not. They don't have.
That's right. Yeah, it's not even 10 anymore, is it?
Yeah.
It's just the original.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, so Scott, instead of warming up his palate, has completely shot his palate with a 62% peated whiskey. So I think it's safe to say whatever Scott says, just take his opinions with a grain of salt here as we get going. I'm just kidding. We're all professionals. We can get this done. Anyway, what's in the glass tonight? It's Monday. It's the summertime. Come on, you got to have a whiskey in the glass, especially as we spent about an hour here going through these 5. Drop a comment in chat and let's get rolling. You want to try this? You have a good lineup picked up?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. First one. Let's get this party started. And 113.58. Spicy and sweet. Let me grab my bottle here. And now I got to wait for the scroll. 11-year-old Speyside, spicy and sweet. First fill ex bourbon barrel, 60.5%. This will be available $125. Named Ay Caramba.
Ay caramba, Dios mío. I would have accepted both. I think, Scott, you mentioned you haven't tried these yet. You usually try them before we do a stream. I haven't tried these. I'm opening these for the first time. In fact, what I should probably do is open all of these now and let them start to breathe, because, like we said, four of the 5 are over 60%.
Yep, just showing a little bit of the color there. About what you'd expect. 11-year-old first fill ex bourbon barrel. We got a little bit of cask influence going on here with this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna open all these.
Ooh, malty and citrusy on the nose. A little aromatic, really perfumey.
Sorry, I'm just opening a few of these and giving away the flavor profiles based on the color of the topper here.
Everybody watching is a pretty good, guesser at what's coming up throughout the evening as we go on. I would say anybody that's new that's watching, we're talking about this is cask number 113.58. 113 means this is the 113th distillery that we've purchased whiskey from. And then the 0.58 means this is the 58th cask that we got from Distillery 113. Now, we don't release those distillery codes. Somewhat, they are hidden out there in plain sight on the internet, I think is the politically correct way of putting it.
There are no politics in whiskey. That's probably not true. Right away, 60.5%, freshly opened bottle. I've just opened the first 3 at least to let them start breathing. The only reason I didn't do 5 is I want to get to this whiskey and not keep anyone waiting. But spicy and sweet. I think this whiskey, just off the aroma, pretty bright and fresh and citrusy for something in that flavor profile. I think I would have probably just first impression thought this would be a juicy oak and vanilla, which is our one of our 12 flavor profiles. Typically, the more autumnal spicy whiskeys fall in this one, but very, very bright, zesty. Again, I'm recognizing that the strength being over 60% probably has something to do with that. So we'll taste this neat and add some water to see if it mellows out a bit.
Lemony, citrusy, malty, fruity, and like you say, almost could be confused, maybe even juicy oak and vanilla type profile on the nose.
Yeah. It seems pretty much classical Scotch on the nose. I mean, obviously it's packing a punch. It's unquestionably strong just on the aroma alone. But the flavors are sort of a classic Speyside, some orchard fruits, a lot of honey.
Yeah.
Maybe some like vanilla extract, if that's a thing.
Sure,
it's a thing.
Yep. This distillery also is only one I've only seen from independent bottlers. No official bottlings from this distillery used in blends or other independent bottlers releasing this. And this is probably maybe the second or third one over the last year and a half, I think, that we've seen from 113.
I think we have them just recently for the first time in a long, long time. I could actually, I'm going to confirm that. I want to see back in April. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a younger one too. It was 9 years old. And so this is effectively the second one we've seen in many years.
Green apples on the nose. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going in on the palate.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh. Wow. All right. That one is very surprising. First sip. Wow. The fruitiness, the spiciness, cinnamons, nutmegs, fruits, berries, nice oak, a little bit of toastiness going on there with it. Wow, that is beautiful.
I know. I'm really like giddy about this. Like, I'm excited. You know why I'm excited? Because I'm guilty of doing whatever we say we shouldn't do, which is to set expectations before you taste a whiskey.
Right.
And I'm looking at this lineup, and I was like, yeah, it's a starter whiskey. We always start with like sort of the lightest, or I don't know,
Youngest, lightest. What you think is going to be? Mm-mm.
I gotta tell you, yeah, I instantly when you made your first sound of the, I was in my own head, like I was, yeah, really, really surprised by this. Again, I'm gonna fresh out of the bottle. I'm gonna give it a moment. I'm gonna add some water. Immediate sleeper whiskey.
Yes.
We have started off. I'm pretty happy with where we're at right now. Just to kick off,
I agree.
I was saying that you're right. The aroma, I was saying, oh, it's a classical Scotch, which I think can sound negative, but I meant it in a good way. Like sometimes it's nice to have all the boxes checked, but on the palate, man, there were many more flavors than there were like aromatic notes, if that makes sense. There's a lot more going on, and you nailed it. You like the nutmegs, the spiciness is there, and we were all saying, oh, it's juicy oak and vanilla, and now it's like, wow, you get all that sort of autumnal spice, and it's a little bit herbaceous too. Less fruity and fresh on the palate, more complex and a little bit of sort of like new leather going on.
Yeah. Green apples, though, getting the green apples, getting the it's almost like a caramel. Halloween time, those green apples with the caramel melted on it, cinnamon, oak, vanilla. It's just a beautiful. That by far exceeds what I was expecting. Wow.
It's a little bit of a humbling experience, I think, for those of us who feel like we do this for a living, and because we do, and then I'm guilty of it. I'll be the first to admit.
That is, I mean, that is a beautiful, beautiful dram.
Yeah.
11-year-old ex-bourbon barrel, nothing fancy. What is it, $120?
Bourbon barrel, 125, yeah. It's kind of in that spot. Well, of course, then we factor inflation, prices, everything going up, but like it's at that point where what am I trying to say here? It's not. Yeah, it's I don't know. At that price point, I obviously expect this whiskey. It's a society whiskey. I expect experience to come of it. I just didn't expect it to be that much of an experience right out the gate. So
I did look too to confirm this is still one of the last remaining 750 milliliter bottles. So even a little bit more bonus there. I got a drop of water on mine.
Oh, interesting. This is 750. I see. Oh, I see. It does look bigger. I mean, I know it is, but
water warming this thing up. It's really just velvety warming. Wow. I mean, I've got visions of that. I had that Halloween, that caramel covered apple, and it's just visions. Even though it's summertime, it's July. I'm picturing the fall and winters, and leaves are falling. They're brown, and you're sitting outside. Some of those leaves, a pile, are being burnt. Smoke is wafting in the air. It's cool, and you're drinking this dram. Woo.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm like pumped about this. I don't know why.
It is. That was really surprising because I mean, and the same, just like you come in with expectations. We've kind of lined these up in what we think are going to be, least flavorful or the youngest, and kind of not much moving into the heavier, more richer palates. And this one just exceeding everything I thought was going to be in there. Wow. Beautiful. Just look at those apples, stewed fruits. But another couple drops of water on it.
Yeah, man. This is going to be a hidden gem. I mean, I think it is, because I don't think a lot of members, because on paper, like you said, it's a lesser known distillery, one that's producing primarily for blends. And funny, nosing this just out of the bottle, it was very, I said classical, but you can tell it felt like the aromas give me the impression that it's like a canvas for blends. But man, the palate really delivers so much more of an experience. Kansas water for Tennessee water. What is better for adding to cast strength? Gosh.
Yep. And Kim agrees. She says New York City water. Of course, I mean, that makes supposedly the best water. Pizza crust in the world.
No, New York has great water.
Yeah.
Between Tennessee and Kansas, I don't know. I mean, we've got mountains.
I would try to be biased and say Kansas, but I don't know. I mean, Tennessee.
We got mountains. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
For years, been making great whiskey out of Tennessee. So using that Tennessee water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might lean towards Tennessee. I'm not going to be biased.
Yeah. I would say New York trumps both of them, though.
You think?
Yeah. They have great water in New York.
Huh.
Which is why they have great bread.
Yep. All right, 2 drops of water.
I've had a lot. I added a dash. I thought it was lesser of an experience than neat, and then I added some more water, and then got to a point where all the flavors really came out, and which was interesting. It wasn't like a linear improvement. At first, it was like kind of disoriented, and then it really came into its own.
I think water. It was sweeter, and more of the fruit was showing neat. Maybe even with 1 drop, 2 drops, it's almost got a little bit more astringency going. A little bit more of the oak is showing, and those fruits have kind of tamed down, I think, a little bit. Still delicious, still good, but man, neat. And just a little bit of water is where that one's at.
You know, I've said this a few times. I feel like recently, in recent months, we've had some killer whiskeys, but I don't usually finish a dram in these tastings. We're kind of flying through it, tastings a few times. I'll taste one a few times. I just killed that. Like that was delicious. You know, I mean, I'm not pouring a huge drink. You could probably, you know, but
yeah, I pour a hefty dram just to show the color. So I didn't. I only drank. I don't know if I even drank half of mine, but yeah. It's still quite a bit there. All right,
man. So I think anybody watching this right now, you would get it. You would taste this. You would see where we're coming from. I think there's a lot to it. That's probably the most. What am I trying to say? I don't think it's a whiskey that in the context of everything we release over the course of a year, I don't think it's going to be like the showstopper, you know. But when you make a list of all the whiskeys that I don't know what I'm trying to really think about. I'm trying to process this because I don't. It's not going to be. You challenged me once, Scott, to think about that when we talk about what are the most memorable whiskeys you've had, and it has me rethinking like what I enjoy about a whiskey or what styles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this will be in the top 10 whiskeys of the year, but of all the whiskeys in the top 30, it will be the biggest surprise.
I was going to say it's not top 3, but it's top 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
on first impression. That just really blew me away on first sip.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean that's okay. That's a lot. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go down because this next one, I saw a comment from Jason Coates about, you know, it doesn't have to be a fancy cask or something like that to be and I totally agree. I think sometimes simplicity is the way to go. That said, this one has been time in 2 casks, and I was really, really curious about this one. Saw this on the list and absolutely threw it in the lineup. 55.75 exotic opulence. Sounds fancy on paper, but juicy oak and vanilla profile I personally really enjoy. And sort of the mid-teens space cider. I spent time in 2 casks, the ex-bourbon hogshead and a first fill heavily toasted medium charred hogshead. I was interested in this one because Distillery 55, another spirit that has produced primarily for blends, for a blended Scotch whiskey. I don't know. My experience has always been it's been a very soft, mellow, sort of stone fruit forward Speyside whiskey. But at cask strength, it's a different story. And I think I'm really curious to know how this HTMC, the heavily toasted medium charred hogshead, will influence the final product here.
There are, a couple of releases from this distillery. I know there's a 12-year-old, and I want to say maybe an 18-year-old. But yeah, you don't see too many releases from them. Primarily blends. And I don't know if I've even seen another independent bottler with this distillery. And it's one, again, only 2 or 3 we've seen over the last year and a half.
Well, right away.
Woo, there we go.
Different aromatic experience. This is much more of a I have a better word to describe it than this, but the name exotic opulence, is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very opulent aroma. I think it smells like what you would define like a luxury whiskey. Does that make sense? I mean,
Sure.
you get that impression? You know what I mean? Like, and what does that really mean? I don't know. That's just a marketing sort of characteristic that's been made up to describe Scotch whiskey, but it definitely, I think, evokes a more thought-provoking or mellow type of whiskey experience, which is saying a lot compared to the last one that we just had.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot going on, some old dusty books, a little bit of worn leather.
It's definitely richer, a little bit darker. All of those notes, dusty, leathers.
Yeah, it's not fruity. There are fruits in it. It's like stewed apple pie or stewed fruits. So like baked apple pie with stewed apples, a little bit of cinnamon. Maybe that's just the thought of like an apple pie. But
I'm almost going a little bit more almost sherried with darker fruits being prunes.
Yeah. I think just with the suggestion of that, I could easily be convinced that there's something going on. But
well, that second cask being that heavily toasted, medium charred hogshead, who knows what was in that before? But when they retoast those things, can bring out all kinds of goodness. I was getting a little bit of a almost like a surfboard wax or carnauba wax.
I used to put that in my cars back in the day. I don't know about surfing, but limited as a Midwestern kid. But yeah, I do love the smell of carnauba wax.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit of it. It's hidden underneath those other, or not necessarily hidden, but it's toned down compared to those other notes that are standing out. But there's a little bit of that carnauba wax in there.
Are you getting that? I mean, I know I said the dusty books, like they keep. That's for me the most dominant note, and it's really sort of a thought-provoking type of aromatic experience. Man, that sounds really pretentious when I say it like that, especially in this microphone. But that's what it is. Hey, what can I say?
Almost dusty, or even a little bit of, almost like that dunnage kind of earthy, dank, earthy, dank dunnage a little bit in there underneath as well. I think 16 years, and then these 2 cask types have really played an influence on this one. And my expectations have just sprung up for this one based on the news. Wow. All right. Ready to go in on this one? Cheers. Definitely warmer, richer, Doesn't have quite that fire spark, 56.9% looking here. So a little bit lower ABV here, but just more warmth, more warming overall on the palate. A little bit of mintiness.
Woody, very woody. Not like a harsh prickly wood or of any sort. Prickly splintered wood. It's very sort of old, warming wood. Toasted. Like this one, heavily. The heavily toasted, medium charred hogshead is definitely it's present. I think when you mentioned, hey, this could be a sherry cask of some sort on the nose, I don't get that on the palate.
I don't get it on the palate either.
That's sort of disappeared.
Yeah.
It's funny with the first whiskey we had, I said that it smelled like it had a very classical Speyside aroma. And then the palate was very different. This one, the aroma was a very exotic and opulent. And for me, at cask strength, the palate is more classical. Like it's more familiar.
We do need, we forgot on the first one, but before we move on, we need to check the tasting notes from the label as well.
Ooh. On
this one. Yeah, I'm going in just a second sip there. That first one, though, very warming, still tasting. I think the 16 years on this one is setting in. A lot of those oak tannins, then even that HTMC hogshead again, playing nice wonders on this one. Mm. I'll throw a little bit of leather in there with you on your old books. Dusty. Toasted cinnamon sticks. A little bit of a fudge. The molten lava cake. Is it?
Where are you pulling these notes out?
Dark chocolate cake.
Nothing inspires creative thought like a blue V-neck T-shirt. It's just that mine is too dark, and I think we're like at a loss for words. It's I would go back to saying it's very classical. The old wood is there. It's I think the aroma was more exotic than the palate for what that's worth. I think that's probably because the oakiness really kind of comes forward on the palate for me. I think on overall, it's a more. If you were to pour this for 100 people, I think they would prefer this one to the first one. I think the first one is, of course, the strength is a little bit lower. 57 was it?
Yeah.
56 point. It's not a calm whiskey by any means, but yeah. I'm admittedly struggling to wrap my head around this one. I think as I go through the tasting, I'll have to come back to really place it. Overall, soft, approachable. I mean, with when reduced, it's, I think, unmistakably complex. There's a lot going on. I made the comment that on the aroma, I think it's more of a luxury whiskey. I still maintain that compared to the first one. And I think for these mid-teen whiskeys, cask strength, something like that, it's really good value for what it is.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at tasting notes on the bottle. I was like, Mamuka was asking if it's tropical. I don't get anything tropical to this one. This is just comparing it back to the first one. What you had said there a little bit. It's just it's richer. I mean, it's a little bit darker. I would say a little bit richer. I think that's the age though, 16 years compared to 11. But overall, nice, great influence from that retoasted hogshead. Let's look at the tasting notes on the bottle. Takes the imagination to exotic places with trail mix, coconut, pineapple, mango, honeysuckle, rose petals, and old oak. Rose petals, I about called out as for a floralness, and the old oak for sure. But I'm not. I mean, pineapple and mango, honey, maybe some toasted honeysuckle.
Mm.
The tropicalness, the coconut, pineapple, mango. No, I'm not getting yet.
Rose petals wasn't really screaming at me. No, I got a little bit on the finish. It's like so many boxes are checked. It's floral. It's not that fruity. I think it's like some more stewed fruits. There's some sort of warm spices. It's oaky. What else is there? It's not smoky.
No.
Maybe a little bit of a hint of wood smoke, but you know what I mean? Like it's got it. I think it's a crowd pleaser whiskey. And I just want to convey that I think it's really, really good. I finished this one as well. So I mean, I think that speaks for it. Yeah, that says more than I can possibly say, but I don't know. I want to go back to the first one after this and really think, because 2 whiskeys so far on the table, and I don't know which one I go for. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Yeah.
I'm going to open the last 2 and let those breathe while we're doing this.
This one I've been looking forward to, and yes, I have expectations for this one. Yes, I have ideas in my head of what should be happening with this one. 30.122 leather bag in the market. This is a Dirtiff, deep, rich, and dried fruits, 9-year-old Speyside, exclusively matured or double matured ex Oloroso butt, and then a refill HTMC Punchin, heavily toasted medium charred, whopping 67.6% ABV.
So I have to admit, there's no real admission here, but I just some context of this whiskey. I saw this on paper, and there was a time, probably 2017 to 2019, we saw quite a few casks from Distillery 30 coming through, mostly Spanish oak sherry butts like this one. Although this one has spent time in a second sherry cask, refill, heavily toasted medium charred Punchin. But I thought they were some of by far the best whiskeys Society were putting out at the value too, around $100. Oh, look, the price. That's interesting. Despite all the inflation, all the prices, and the cost of everything that's gone up since what I say 2017, 6 years, actually pretty much the same price. I just thought for a distillery that is, I don't want to say lesser known, but not known for putting out whiskey of the quality that I was tasting from the cask, I was just blown away. So I was a real big fan. I know some members, I joined this company, and some members shared that opinion too. That, man, these Spanish oak sherry butts, 10 years and younger, are just killer. And so I jumped on it, but I'm just going to say it's been years now. It's been years since I really had one of this age. We put out some of the Distillery 30 casks, but usually like 20 plus years in bourbon casks or whatever. So this is, on paper, I do have high expectations for this one. So
yeah. No, actually, after I poured it, though, looking at the color, I did expect a little bit darker color on it, but still looking nice here. We should have some good influence. I was looking. Andrew Castleton, just tuning in. Haven't seen Andrew before, I don't think, but he says, "Oh man, finally caught alive. Just finished a great sirloin dinner and time to pour an Isla Mist because it's just a Monday." That's right, Andrew.
Amen, Andrew.
Whiskey Franco said it's a Dirtiff. Only a Dirtiff would elicit an evil villain laugh like that from Scott. Yep. Jason Coates, this distillery is all over the place for me, but the good ones are really, really good. That Kansas cask. And he's referring to Kansas did a pick, a single cask from Distillery 30 5 or 6 years ago, was simply fantastic. And
unrelated, but
that's it. I bet you that's it.
This is just a random distillery. It has nothing.
Is that open?
It's not.
Oh my! You've got a hidden gem right there.
I I'm surrounded by hidden gems. What are you talking about?
Wow.
I bought this at your
Uh-huh.
at your Scotch Test Dummies anniversary.
Yep.
Jason was there, and
Uh-huh.
Jason, did you get a bottle? Were we there together at the store? I don't know. I don't know. I have a thing about all these unopened bottles, not just because I like to. I really don't like to open bottles with people who enjoy it or can appreciate them, and I've got more bottles than I have friends who appreciate it here in my city. So,
Yeah.
if you're ever passing through,
Yeah. Wes Jolly was here. He says, "Yep, that Kansas cask."
yeah, Wes was there. Yeah.
Yep. Well, and I think if George Kaplan is still here as well, he tried it. I don't know if he remembers or if he got any of that one, but yeah, that one, and it stayed around for a while. I went through a few bottles of that, and there was a liquor store here that had like 6 of them on the shelf.
Yeah.
And I thought next time I'm in there, I'm picking those up. And I went in and they were all gone.
Yeah. Well, listen, this has been the best tangent I've been on in a long time.
Yeah.
But I'll get back to the context. Well, listen, let's be clear here. We're talking about whiskey from various sources, but the point is a single cask whiskey from this distillery is or the single cask whiskeys tend to be pretty special. I think it's always been the depth of flavor, the texture, particularly with sherry casks. I think more so than the bourbon casks, for me at least, some of the best. And I would put Distillery 30 sherry casks up there with anyone. I would probably, well, Glendronach is pretty good. I don't know.
Tom Mara wants to know if we're going to start using plastic bottles. As far as we know, no.
What's the WT?
Wild Turkey 101.
Oh, they're using plastic bottles?
Yeah.
What's the price on that?
$19.
Oh.
Okay, so this is, we thought we were getting maybe some hints of some sherry on the prior one. This one definitely, but this is sweet. Well, I mean, it's the dark fruits, but it's also sweet. Wow, this one is a gorgeous nose.
Yeah. My first split-second reaction is this is back in the wheelhouse that I would hope for. There's a real depth of flavor, just not flavor, aroma, heavy on the nutmeg and clove. It's pretty herbaceous, but it's just instantly like a warming sensation. And I think what I'm really into about these Distillery 30 sherry casks is just the balance of all of it. No one element of a traditional sherry cask is out of place or dominant. Everything is just like a level playing field, from the spice to the herbal qualities to the dark fruits to the wood. Everything is really in sync.
Yeah.
And you're right about the color. It's not as dark as you would expect for something like this.
Yeah.
On paper, but the aroma,
yeah,
says otherwise. You know,
I'll tell you the 67% though. I can't get my nose too close to it. I've resorted back to the old trick of just kind of blowing on the whiskey a little bit and letting it and blowing the aroma out to you instead of trying to get it right out of the glass. But just give it a little blow. Woo, yeah, and it's sweet. Those fruits are there. There's plum, cinnamon, rich spices, chocolatey. My nose is itching. Someone's thinking about me. Got it.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. That's what they say.
Who is they?
They.
I don't know, man.
People.
All right, I'm tasting this.
Yeah, very nice. So.
Well, first of all, it's like crazy strong. I mean, it's literally. Oh God, I sound like a TikToker. It's literally strong. No, it's 67%. And it tastes every bit of it. This is not the strength to really pick out any flavors, but man, it's
that is, yeah,
wild.
What I was expecting with the color and is a little off, but what I had for expectations on the palate, it's all here, man. This is rich. It's not quite, it's sherry bomb, but I've had darker, richer, more depth ones. This one is still, though, it's sweeter, but all those sherried notes are there. It's high. That 67% really kicks in. But man, the almond, the toasted almonds, all of the Oloroso notes that you expect are there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit sweeter though. It's not necessarily that dark, rich, dried Oloroso.
Yeah, it's not the most cask driven whiskey. And I say it like like it's a surprise because I think others have been. This is much more balanced and nuanced.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make an assumption here that the refill heavily toasted medium charred puncheon is likely American oak ex sherry cask. It doesn't say specifically, but I'm saying that because one, that's what I taste on the palate, but also kind of knowing now when I think about it, well, most of the casks that we source for additional maturation are from sherry bodegas, and pretty much all sherry is actually matured in American oak versus Spanish oak. And so you have here an ex Oloroso sherry, but presumably Spanish oak, just knowing like what this distillery is sourcing and whatnot, but then transferred to it. Again, I could be wrong. It doesn't specify, but the flavor profile suggests that there's a little bit of American oak ex sherry cask in there. And I would love to actually find that out.
I went to our product page that'll be live tomorrow. So, and the only thing I was thinking was this: if this was so, generally this is 9 years old. We're gonna see like 7 years in that Oloroso butt, and then 2 years maybe in that HTMC puncheon. But this one was 5 years. Looking at the product page, 5 years in the ex Oloroso butt, and then it was transferred to a refill European oak puncheon. So 4 years in European oak puncheon, HTMC.
So then I'm wrong. Not American oak.
But
well, everyone, do not listen to a thing I'm saying because I'm just making stuff up. Well, yeah, interesting. European oak puncheon.
The 5 and 4 years kind of surprises me.
Yeah. So it's just sort of the result of maturation. Then. I guess the point is it doesn't have the sort of the spiciness that you tend to get from a Spanish oak. But I think if we were in a blind tasting competition, I think you would have won that point.
Burnt caramel. A little bit of tobacco. There's some tobacco juice. Cherries.
Yeah.
Luxardo cherries. Ooh. Very nice. That was with a little drop of water. Let me add another one on there. Ooh.
For me, it's a stunning whiskey in the wrong season. I think, well, meaning to say, I think when winter comes around, this thing is going to be perfection. You know, I mean, this is like exactly what I want in the wintertime, the depths of January. So.
This one, of course, is 67%, holding water very well. In fact, I just put 2 rounds on it. Let's just go with 3. Let's just bring this one down a little bit more even. But I'm still going to be in the 50s, probably upper 50s, no more of the water than what I've added.
Yeah. I love that you're adding like singular drops to a whiskey that's 67.6%. I've added like an entire water bottle to my.
Well, I say rounds of water because it's more than a drop. Oh. Usually, I mean, it depends on how much whiskey you have in your glass. It depends on the ABV. I think the first round of water that I did on this one was 5 or 6 actual drops of water, and then 5 or 6 again, and then 5 or 6 again. So I've got 15 to 20 drops of water on this probably, and it's still still a palate burner. I mean, it's still hot, still delicious.
Whew.
Ooh, I know. Great finish on this one. Hangs in there. It's those sherry notes, those sweet dark fruits. Again, not quite as dry and spicy as some Olorosos that we see. A little bit more on the sweeter side. Toasted honeys.
A comment earlier from Warren Buff. I've noticed these SMWS tasting glasses concentrate alcohol in the nose a lot more than my Glencairns. I think that's that's a fair observation too, Warren, because Glencairn, I don't have one here, but those the rigid glasses are the top, I should say, are pretty upright, whereas these SMWS glasses are like fully bulbous, point inward. So I think the direction of the aromas as a result of the glass are going to be more concentrated. So it makes sense you don't have the same sort of alcohol dispersion that you would have on a straight or sort of wider, I guess, what is this, concave or convex? It remind me of geometry, but yeah, I only really taste or drink whiskey out of Copita glasses or these. And I've I haven't really had a whiskey like Glencairn in a long time, years. But that's only because I think I've kind of at one point I decided, you know what, for consistency of assessing whiskeys, I'm just going to taste out of the same shape glass. But I totally support this idea that different whiskeys and different strengths are perhaps better suited for different types of different shaped glassware.
I switched to a Glencairn just to see here.
There you go.
I mean,
this is great service.
Yeah.
You get more than
I've got 4 rounds of water though. I've really tried to bring this one down. I mean, it's not as punchy on the nose, but that's also because I've probably added that much water to it. But let's see if what 4 rounds of water does to the palate. We're finally past the harsh burn. We're down into low 50s here. Still delicious whiskey though. All of those same notes. A little bit more of the tobacco, almost a ashy toastiness going on with it, and those fruits all still there. Gorgeous. Wow. I've got to put this one down because I'm just going to keep drinking on it.
Yeah, I made the comment earlier about the winter time, and Jason Coates says Sherry 30s are perfection in the winter months. It's not that I don't enjoy it now, but I agree that I said earlier it's the wrong season, but I think it would be idyllic at that time. It's not that it's not suitable for this. I'm sitting inside in an air-conditioned home. I wouldn't be drinking this outside in the summer, but I mean, it wouldn't be my whiskey of choice. I'd drink it if you hand it to me. But in the wintertime, man, this thing would be like perfection. You know.
All right. I'm still tasting. I'm trying to cleanse my palate here. That one's still hanging around.
Enjoy my whiskey out of whatever glass my butler hands me, even if it's rum.
I know he's lying because your butler would bring you the same glass every time. Wouldn't be different.
Would it be the Glencairn today, sir? Well, no, I think I've got a very subtle first fill bourbon barrel whiskey here. I'll take the Copita. Right, of course. Would it be the short stem Copita or the long stem?
Is that a rocks tumbler? Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4 out of 5. This one is just barely over our 60%er. 4.327. Party in an Island Smokehouse. Lightly peated. Ex-bourbon hogsheads and a first fill barrel. 60.4% ABV. This was one of the batches we did with several casks from Distillery 4. And then this one, after that combination, went into the first fill ex-bourbon barrel. 700 milliliter format on this one. Everything tonight has been 700 except for the first one. The Ay Caramba 113.58 was 750.
Wait, so okay, this is I want to pick this one because I thought we've had some 4s recently, but they were younger.
We've had a couple of 13-year-olds recently, but yeah, majority are.
Okay, right. We did so we did have some from this same batch. I'm looking back, but I'm looking back. I don't think they've all been older or younger. Here's one. Here's one from January. Old school with a twist. Cask 4.312.
Mm.
13 years old. Yeah, from this.
I feel like you
Ultra
have to
small
say
batch.
old school with a twist.
Did you have that one? I mean, someone's got to have that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so the point is, I knew we had released some similar from this batch, and it'd probably be fun to taste and compare with this exact one.
Citrusy, almost a oily lemon pledge. Well, oily, waxy, lemon pledge, nice citrusy, light peat. Wow. I was hoping, I had debated maybe throwing this one in before the last one, before that deep, rich, and dried fruits, since this one was lightly peated. We'll see how this one holds up. Ooh.
All right, I'm back.
Did you find it?
Oh, well. Wow.
I've called out citrusy, waxy, lemon pledge.
So I was looking to see if I had another cask from this one, but I do not.
Yeah, Mamuka. This one is just ex bourbon. This went from ex bourbon hogsheads into a first fill barrel.
It's like such a happy aroma. It reminds me of a lot of like my early days of Scotch whiskey exploration and coming across this distillery, and then eventually having by the way, I should mention the first time I think I joined this company 2018. Scott, we did a live stream on your channel. And that's kind of funny. It was 4 point something that we did, and it was the first bottle. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We did a stream with you and Bart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were a tiny little company back then, and I was like, well, we should probably just go hang out with some whiskey tubers and see if they like our whiskey. And you were the first one, and it was oh man, this is what a serendipitous moment this is. I'm realizing, like, we weren't wearing the same color shirt or anything, but at the time,
yeah.
What was that called? That was a cool name too.
I don't remember.
Well, I'm glad it was memorable for you too.
Yeah.
It was like smoke lemonade or something. Hold on, everybody. You can. Jason Coates says circle of life. This is a circle of life moment. This is like, hold on.
Yeah, you can look. This one, so this one is setting based on the nose. This one is setting expectations high for the palate. This is a really beautiful nose. It's like I say, it's that waxy lemon pledge, furniture polish, citrusy, light peat.
Sorry, this was at Smoke Plum Lemonade. Do you remember this?
I do not remember that.
All right, well, this is super awkward now because I'm like, like recalling a very special moment, and I'm realizing it.
I'll bet you Bart probably kept the bottle though, since it was peated, so I haven't had it to reference. So
anyway, the point is, it's pretty similar to this.
I was my expectations are high for the palate on this one though, based on the nose, because it's a really gorgeous nose.
What about blue cheese?
I
get a lot of that. Smoked blue cheese. It's like party in an island smokehouse, but first you put out the cheese and crackers. That's blue cheese. No?
I'm not getting blue cheese.
Okay. That's the
But I
dominant.
did just have some. I grilled some fillets the other night, beef fillets, and put a little blue cheese crumbles on them.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you do that with your steaks. It's delicious.
I don't, but
Yeah, try it next time you
I
grill a
love
steak.
blue cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, just put a little bit of blue cheese crumbles on top of your steak right when you take it off the grill. Oh, so good. All right, cheers. Mm-hmm. Ooh,
Beautiful coastal maritime characteristics. A
Ooh.
little seaweed and brine, but a very warm baked bread.
Yep.
Toasted almonds. A little bit woody. It starts off cold, then becomes very, very warm.
Ooh. Citrusy.
Yeah. Citrus
Lime.
peel.
Almost more limes, lemons, slight peat, grilled. It's grilled fruits. You got a kebab with a lot of the different grilled fruit. I'd throw some grilled pineapple on this one. There's the pineapple.
Grilled prawns, or as we call shrimp.
There's a lot of things you can do with shrimp.
Yeah. Distill them.
The island smokehouse is smoking. It's like a white fish. It's prawns or shrimp or
This is immensely satisfying.
It is.
Like, you know what I mean? It's just I'm like, yeah. It brings me to a good place. I think it's worth mentioning. This is like an ultra small batch, so the few casks were in fact blended together for this one, and then separated to different casks. And this is one of them, but it does have the unique characteristic, I think, of an ultra small batch single malt. I think the flavor profile is less singular; it's more rounded out, and that makes sense, you know. So less of a solo violinist and more of an orchestra, and I think the overall like way that the flavors are presented.
Whiskey Franco was hoping for a Forrest Gump tangent there. Yeah. I gave the first little bit. He must. I mean, that's where you recognized Forrest Gump from, right? I said that's about all you can do with shrimp, because you got jumbo shrimp, grilled shrimp, shrimp etouffee, Cajun shrimp, barbecued shrimp.
Tom Mars asking, do you have a spreadsheet? Do you have that?
I didn't know. I realized that when we got to go on.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. You can take it up with Scott.
Yep. Jason Coates had asked any of that wet river rock character in this one. That's when 4 is at its best, in my opinion. Pineapple, candied lemon, wet rocks, and soft peat. Yeah, the pineapple for sure. That grilled smoked pineapple going on here. Smoked fish. Lightly. I don't think it's smoked fish up front. To me, it's that grilled fruit, that citrusy, vanilla, oaky goodness, peat, and then hints of that grilled white fish.
Let me see here.
I must have had me 15 Dr. Peppers. It's another Forrest Gump line. Justin Taves has to head out. Night. Thanks, Scott and Ben. Night, everyone. See you, Justin. Mamuka now wants gumbo. Yeah. But another great cask from Distillery 4.
So Tom Mars coming with a spreadsheet. There are 10 whiskeys coming out tomorrow. I think there are more, but there's 10. We chose these 5. We can tell you the rest of them, or Scott, if you want to kind of verbally share at the end of
we can do that.
This is like a.
You lost your camera.
No, interesting. Why?
I don't know. You went dark.
Well, I just had to turn off the light so I can really taste the flavors.
I've got it so you can focus. Ooh. Yeah, I got a drop of water on mine. Still gorgeous. Great whiskey. Now you went muted, Ben, if you meant to. Mm. Mm. Nice, rich, full, 13 years. We get a lot of great, to me, Distillery 4, a lot of great casks from. Same as, 53 is another one of those we get a lot of casks from. Just great whiskeys. They never disappoint. I do agree with lightly peated on this one. Some of our 4s are making it into the peated category. Some aren't making it. We have recently had an oily and coastal Distillery 4. This one, I think, almost could be borderline oily and coastal, or this lightly peated. I mean, that oily. I'm getting so much of that waxiness on this one. That lemon pledge. So, and that maritime character is here as well.
I know you started off with your accidental warm-up dram being the peated whiskey of the lineup. This is definitely peated to me. I thought you were going to say lightly peated to peated. Yeah, I think overall there's much to love about this one. Again, I think it's more as advertised. There's not many tricks up its sleeves, but it's like, for me, the most satisfying of the whiskeys I think we've had thus far. Like when you're looking for something like this, lightly peated, non-Isla, but island whiskey, very, very niche. It's there, and I think that's also good value too.
Tasting notes from the bottle, which I forgot to do for the Dirtiff from the 30. Tasting notes on Party in an Island Smokehouse. A flight with flamed lemon peel and cured smoked salmon. Single malt, originally from bourbon hogsheads, married in this cask. So yeah, the lemon peel, the citrusy we called out, the smoked fish, smoked shrimp, prawns, all that. Great.
Last one.
And last but not least, it is not a black label. I seen a comment. Somebody thought the black label must be coming up because we have had some good whiskeys.
Who said that? Oh, George. This next one must be a black label.
It is not. I wish. But we are going from lightly peated to peated.
The youngest whiskey of the night.
It is. Yep.
Also the most interesting on paper, I would say. I think with this one, I was really, really intrigued. And G15.17, just a little fun fact about G15, as I understand, Highland Distillery, this particular spirit is, so G, when you see G before a number, that signifies it's a single grain whiskey. My understanding is G15 is actually using a column still, as you would to distill grain whiskey, but the mash bill is 100% malted barley, like a single malt. So it's really a bit of an enigma in Scotch whiskey distillation. And this one is peated. There have been quite a few that have been unpeated. So G is for George Kaplan. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. Yeah, this was, I went and for my warm-up dram, I went and poured some Glenmoe 10, and I came out and sat down and was sitting here messing around, and I picked up my glass, and I took a little sip, and I was thinking, this Glenmoe 10's peated. I'm like, what the? And I'm like, immediately, I picked up the wrong glass. That was my G15.17 poured, set off to the side. I accidentally thought was my Glenmoe 10. Did not take me long to realize that one. But all right. Ooh,
this is a smoky whiskey that is non-coastal. That's an obvious statement. I think most obvious statement I can make tonight. But immediately. I don't think you would confuse this for an Isla peat whiskey. It's definitely a mainland peat, but heavy on the bacon for me.
Sweet. It's a sweeter peat. It's not that earthy.
Interesting. Oh, I thought it was. Well, I was gonna say savory because
Savory.
I got a lot of bacon, but yeah, you're right. A little bit floral.
I got blow into this glass and try to bring it out to me as well because it's way too concentrated coming right out.
That does work.
It's just a little light blow, just a.
Oh, I'm like,
I can hear you. I know it's coming through on your microphone. Yeah, this is LL Distillery.
I might be mistaken, but isn't it LL Distillery? You're not mistaken.
I'm trying to see the little waxy here though as well, just like the Distillery 4, a little bit of waxiness on the nose on this one with all that peat.
Oh.
Nice lighter citrusy though as well.
The most beautiful palate of the night. The texture is brilliant. Oh, it's sensational. There's it's also so unfamiliar. It's like definitely there's a little lemon peel, but it's more warm. I think a lemon peel, you think of something like tart. Ooh. There's a lot of like baked. I was thinking like baked challah bread. Butter. It's buttered challah. If you guys, so all the fellow Jews in the chat, if there's any one of you, but do you get that at all? Like baked butter bread?
Yeah, yeah,
like a brioche or like a brioche.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Very, yeah.
With a little bit of like peat smoke there.
I was just kind of thrown off because you said this was the best palate of the night. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, there's
well, just because we wear the same shirt doesn't mean we have to agree on the whiskeys. I mean, that's the whole point. That's why there's two of us here, because we're supposed to have different opinions.
I'm sure there was a Dirtiff that was in there, but no.
I think it's sensational. It was my first impression. I think it's 62.5.
It's that sweeter Highland peat though here. Oh. It's very gorgeous and hits you right up front, smacks you right in the mouth right when you take a sip of it. But
the sweet peat, it's not usually my thing, but man, it's like it's hidden right now. It reminds me of there's an Isla whiskey, the Kilhoman 100% Isla, which has been like an annual release. I think they're still doing that probably. I haven't done it in a while, but like it has some characteristics reminiscent of that. It is a sweeter peat. Of course, it doesn't have sort of the Isla brine, more of a burning forest floor, but really it's sort of a tame smoke. Enough smoke to just add some depth without really overpowering the spirit.
Oh. Kim is wondering, let's see here, how this compares to the last G15 peated for Pete's sake. I think that one heavily peated? I think that one was heavily peated, and that one was delicious. That one was very good. I mean, this one is too. I don't get necessarily, this one isn't overriding with peat though. This is so gorgeous, such a nice peat, but with all these other sweet, honeyed, vanilla'd, citrusy notes as well. Oak, they're all playing very well together here. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. And a great finish on this one too. I mean, it's hanging in there, hanging around. This is that younger, 8-year-old peated whiskey style here.
I think it's
really it's kind of a dichotomy, if you ask me, because it doesn't. The sweetness and all this coming in makes it feel a little bit like 10 to 12 years old on this one. I think. I don't know if I think blind this was 8 just because of all this that's going on the palate with this one, besides the peat.
Yeah, I wonder though. I mean, our palates are pretty saturated. This is our 5th whiskey. Sometimes I wonder, like, is it if we started that? Well, you actually had this one to start on accident. So is it different? Oh, man,
Maluka asking fresh or dark fruit, fresh fruit for sure.
Yeah. The butter bread isn't going away. Like I now taste butter. You ever like eat a stick of butter? Uh, random question to ask, but like if you ever taste butter, just pure butter, I got that going on the palate. It's pretty dominant for me.
I have been buying. I eat more butter than I ever used to, but it's all like grass fed cows, organic, good butter. I've recently bought some rolled butter from our Amish community here.
Oh yeah,
freaking yeah! I
would love to taste that.
Oh,
Do you have a pretty big Amish community in Wichita?
There's some close by, about 30, 40 miles away, up by Hutchinson.
Nice.
Yeah. Do a lot of things around here. So
yeah, I would love to taste that.
Oh, but yeah, I can see where you're going there. I was thinking buttered croissant. I mean, really fresh, warm, a lot of butter on it, a little toasted to it. But no, and this is citrusy fruits here again as well. But it's really a nice balance of peat and then cask influence.
Yeah, this is I'm proud to say this is a nerdy whiskey. Like I think it's this is not a whiskey for everyone. I think this is if you're really an enthusiast, and I understand if you're watching this stream, you are. But you know what I mean. Like this is very different from something you'd find off of off the shelf. I think from most commercial bottlings, like from Scotland, like you just wouldn't find something like this. It's very, very unique. And I guess maybe I appreciate it for that reason. I don't know. Maybe not.
Okay. Well, first, let's see here. Kim, KLG223 says, saw some notes that called out smoked pineapple and banana. I can see smoked pineapple, but then Tom says those notes sound like a quality rum. And now when you said that blind, I might think this was a rum finished, that this had been finished in a rum barrel.
Let me go back. No.
Huh?
We always owe everybody an experience. Should we get out some rum and pour?
Yeah, let's see. But no, I mean,
if you guys haven't noticed, we're always looking for an excuse to reach back in the shelf.
Find something else. What else? Well, yeah, that
one. I think I had that from 2016, back when the dollar was worth a lot more than it is now.
But no, I could see some coconut in this one as well. A little bit tropical.
I don't think so.
With the pineapple, I mean, I can agree with the pineapple. I can see a little bit there. Yeah.
I mean, it's hypothetical. We're saying whether we could be convinced or not. I could have been convinced earlier that second whiskey was a sherry cask, but I don't think I pick up the rum notes in this one.
Possible sherried on the nose, not on the palate on that one, on the second one. Great finish on this one. It's beautiful. This one's still sitting here. You can taste it.
I love this. I really, really do.
Yeah. A couple drops of water here.
This would be great. And I don't know, maybe not.
More waxy, more citrusy with water. Still nice ABV burn going on with it.
This would make for the most amazing cocktail.
Ooh.
I feel like it can go in a variety of cocktails. I'm no cocktail expert, but clearly, I feel like this could be, such an incredible base.
All right.
Too.
Tasting notes on the bottle. Party in an island smokehouse. A flight with flamed lemon peel and cured.
You're reading the wrong one.
Oh. Here we go. Merry-go-round. Here we go. I thought those sounded familiar. I was like, smoked salmon.
Did we mention to everybody that all these whiskeys been over 60% tonight? Have we mentioned that?
It's nothing to do with it.
Well, 4 of 5.
All right. Tasty notes on merry-go-round, G15.17. Quiche Lorraine with peat smoked bacon lardons. Dilution gave us smoked pineapple and banana. Yeah, I would agree.
So I gotta say, I'm into this. I want to just caution. I don't think it's for everyone. You know, I mean, listen, most of our whiskeys by definition are not for everyone. It's about finding the one that's right for your palate. That's the nature of single cask, although this is a single cask. This is like just oddly satisfying. You know, I don't know. I'm really into this for my own reasons, and I think, you know, when we do these streams, we try to like just share our honest opinions of our own opinions.
Yeah.
So, but I'm as I'm saying this, I'm like, I don't know. I'm uncertain of how everybody else would react to this whiskey. I think there have been some casts that have come through, like when we've done US exclusive cast picks, where I'll be like, oh, I'll know with confidence, man, everyone's gonna love this one. Like when we did the festival whiskeys, there were some in there. I'm like, man, everyone's gonna love this one. I don't know about this one. For me, I really, really enjoy this one. $95.
I think this is this
Yeah.
is a great Highland peat whiskey.
Yeah.
You know, if you love Isla peat and you buy this one, maybe you're going to like it, maybe you're not. But if you're a fan of Highland peat, this one is in your wheelhouse. I think it's a must buy. It's a gorgeous whiskey, great peat, just great cask influence, and so for such a young whiskey. And this is the one. What was $95?
Yeah.
We
No,
haven't seen a sub $100 bottle for a while.
I would agree with your point, though. It would be wrong and naive to well, that's not very polite, but like it would be wrong to think that this whiskey would satisfy the desire for an Isla whiskey. You know, it's not. It is not that, right? So that's important to establish. You don't have the maritime characters. The one we had before, it was not an Isla whiskey, but the Island whiskey, 4.327. Party in an Island Smokehouse. That I think was satisfying in the way that if you're looking for an island whiskey, a coastal whiskey, let's say, man, that checks all the right boxes. You know, this one is not that, but as just a singular experience, this is totally unique. I love the texture of it. I love the sort of, there's this duality of coldness and warmth at the same time. The palate, the aroma was a bit cold, and then again, I call it the butter bread thing, but there's like these two poles going on at once, which I just think it's just a unique experience. So I'm really, really curious to know how everybody else would, I think, interpret this one or what they would think about it. So I can't recommend it with like the same confidence, but does that make sense? Because I don't think it's something for everyone. I think it's for it's a very, very niche whiskey. And if you're looking for something like this, a peated Highland whiskey with like some real character and a unique experience, man, this is really it. I'm really pumped about this one. I'm going to the mountains this weekend. I'm taking this one with me. I mean that's kind of like what I'm feeling like. That would be really good up at high elevation, and yeah, totally. It's got very light, airy peat. Makes sense. You want to do a bonus dram?
I'm trying to make a draft real quick of the 5 bottles we didn't cover, and I can't do it quick enough. So anyway, I'll go over real quick. 10 bottles coming out tomorrow. We did 5, and I just clicked on something I shouldn't have. Here we go. All right. So real quick, you will see tomorrow. Our bottle of the month is 112.102, effortlessly exotic. A 21-year-old finished in a first fill Sauternes Barrique. $230 to that one. There'll be 20 to 30 bottles of that one available after the bottle of the month, after it goes out to our people on that list. There's 28.66 named Autumn Pursuits. A 9-year-old at $115 first fill barrel in the spicy and dry profile. That one will be interesting. 53.438, a Coastal Breeze. A 10-year-old, $140 in a refill hogshead. Peated. 68.83 named Reverberating Bass Notes. $115, 10-year-old from a refill hogshead. That one's in the spicy and sweet profile. And 122.49 named treats on a windowsill. An 8-year-old at $105. First fill barrel, young and sprightly. So those will be, you'll see in addition to the 5 that we reviewed tonight coming out tomorrow. And bonus dram.
All right. Do you want to do one?
I'm always up for a bonus dram.
Do you guys want to do a bonus dram? I think we don't have anything new to share, but I was going to say one bonus dram to end the evening. Scott, pick one whiskey off your shelf. Maybe we pick one whiskey released this year. Actually, I don't even know if they're all in order. Up to you. You set the parameters.
Are we wanting to? We're wanting to share one more.
Doesn't have to be the same one because I don't know that we have all the same. You pick one. I pick one.
You want to do one of the festival releases?
I only have. Oh, because we did it. We have this. Yeah. Yeah, let's revisit a festival release. That's fine.
You name it. I've got either sample bottles or the bottle.
Let's give Chad a chance to choose. Maybe something that someone has at home they want to taste along. This is a random chance. We don't have everything.
Yeah, if we both have it, sure.
Or if at least one has it, actually, I have all the Isla Festival, the Isla and Hamilton festivals. I have those in sample bottles too. Okay, let's gamify this a little bit. Whiskey Franco says, "Why doesn't one of you pick a random distillery and the other one pick something the same or close?" Tom R says, "Pick a vault bottle."
First of all, Ben has all of the Vaults bottles, and I have like 2.
Well, I've been here for many more years than Scott. So there was a time when I could just justify opening a Vaults bottle on YouTube.
Which Kim says, which bottle did I call out? Which bottle when? 60. What's the name of 68.80 GCAP? I remember names usually more than I remember cask numbers.
Well, listen, we don't have to overcomplicate the plot here, but
do you have Bonkers 39.223?
Bonkers, is something to that? 39.223. What is that one? Let me look it up. I've got all these organized by flavor profile on my shelf. So cancel. Let's see.
Well, we don't have Kim. We don't have all of them that are being released. We only have the 5 that we reviewed tonight.
Bonkers, Speyside. Oh, this is a tasting panel experience whiskey.
Ooh, that was a good one.
So that's the Bonkers. I don't have that one. Wow. Okay, here they come. 68.80, a trip to the dark forest. Oh man, I love that name.
I don't have that one.
I don't have that one. 1.1 bottle. I don't have that one. Okay. Here we go. 79. Well, so I have my whole shelf organized by flavor profile because I'm
mine too.
Yours is too. I drink all the Kool-Aid, man. Okay, first of all, could you help Kim out? She's asking about this 2.49. What is this 0.49?
On the last last bottle that I mentioned,
I see nothing with a 0.49. Okay, we're getting a lot of
122.49
here. And I don't know. I don't know how to go about this. I think he said 122.49. What's 122.49?
Well, how about the last one? Did you have the
No, I don't see a one.
The last G15 that they mentioned?
Oh, 122.49. You're right. You did say that.
Yeah.
That's the one. 122.49.
Let's go. Hey, let's go back. You wanted to let's go back to the first one we did tonight. You wanted to relook at it.
That's fine.
It surprised us from the get-go.
That's fine. Not really
Let's
a bonus
see.
dram. It's more of like the business as usual dram, but
We
whatever.
both have it. And it's right here.
I was about to just suggest Luscious Velvet, but that's fine.
Ooh, I got that one too. Should we do Luscious Velvet?
Well, I've just poured this amazing 113.58 Ay Caramba. Let's give an honest assessment of the 5 whiskeys tonight first. I mean,
Okay.
I kind of want to. I think you guys noticed we've really been I don't know, not holding back on his thoughts since this channel started here. I think my feeling is this: the first one, like, I was giddy over. You said it could be your top 3 whiskey. What do you say? Top
I said no, it's probably not top 3, but top 10. I can see it make
top
that
10.
list.
Okay, that was a bold statement. I honestly think, looking back at the 5 whiskeys, that was the most enjoyable of them. But I don't know if it's because it was the first one. I'm a little nervous about revisiting. I mean, I'm going to. Nervous is a strong word. I feel that I could have been a little I may have jumped the gun a little bit, but man, like, I was loving that. I was loving it, and then I saw you were loving it, and I couldn't believe you were loving it. I thought it was just me, and we were both loving it, and we're both wearing the same shirt. So I mean, at the end of the day,
I just took a little sip, and it still doesn't disappoint. It's gotten a little bit more waxy. Blind, I might think Distillery 39. No, 26. 26.
I gotta tell you, man, it's not the same for me when I have had like this sherry and the peat on my palate. Like, when it's gonna, I think it's a little lost for me right now.
Oh,
I'm not saying it's bad. I think it deserves a fresher palate. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Jason. Yep. 26 is what I was thinking of. Yeah. This is gorgeous. Still going back to it. My palate's still good with this one. Man, it is so juicy, fruity, waxy, citrusy, gorgeous.
All right. Wow. I'm gonna set this aside and say, let's do a bonus dram. Bonus dram. Choose the most. I want to say favorite. Your favorite society whiskey release this year. You don't have to tell me what it is. Just go pick it off your shelf. Ooh. And then pour it, and I'll do the same.
Wow.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on.
I'm already pouring mine. That was it. It took me a few seconds, but I got it. Now, I'm going to show the color. And there'll be some people in here who'll figure this out. One, I would say definitely top 3s of the year.
This is my number 1. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Probably number 1. I'll let you know as soon as I go back in. Ooh, it looks like there's some sherry on that one, Master Ben.
You love that it's not a pure bourbon cask.
Did you see? Yeah, did you see mine?
It looks like mine.
Yeah.
Like, put it in front of your blue shirt. What is it? This is your favorite whiskey release this year. So we're
the first one that came to mind.
Yeah, well, which is, I think, is the answer. What is it? Show us the bottle.
George Kaplan says massive bonus, and it's definitely a massive oak extraction.
Oh my God. It's not the same one.
Yeah.
It's so predictable.
Ooh.
Yeah. Warren Buff says Scott isn't dark enough for massive oak extraction. or Dystopian Deviant. So I'm guessing Luscious Velvet. Well, guess what, baby? That's what I've picked. Luscious Velvet. Distillery 64 Beverly's. Funny, we both picked a festival bottle, and I think this goes to show the festival whiskeys were killer.
I'll tell you, we did a phenomenal job. Not me and you, the SMWS, with those festival releases. Yeah. They were just, they knocked it out of the ballpark. Yep.
Yeah. This is my number one of the year so far. At the halfway, we've crossed the halfway mark of the year. Yep. Many more to come. And actually, I'm looking at what's to come for the rest of the year, and I'm like, oh, this is
Warren Buff is saying he thought Massive Oak was darker. That was kind of a light pour. Generally, I would have poured more, but I've already had several tonight. So, but no, it's and when I poured it, I could definitely tell the difference between anything else we had tonight. So,
oh my God, this is just such a good whiskey.
Dystopian Deviant was fantastic as well. Was that this year? I'd have to go back and see when that one was released.
What's that one?
That was another 24 before. That was a U.S. exclusive cask.
Oh, really?
I think that was this year. That was probably like February. We had 280, 300 bottles of it. And it took about a day it didn't. It took like 6 or 8 hours or something to sell through those. But that one's gorgeous as well.
I think the memory, we tasted this Luscious Velvet. Well, the two of these, all these Space Head whiskeys we did on the stream here. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, I love tasting these things for the first time, like with people with us, everybody here in chat, like having that experience and realizing, oh, we're having the same experience, which is not always the case, Kind of like the first one tonight we had, we're like both kind of tweaking. So,
that was one of those, and you stated it perfectly. It's like you set expectations just based on flavor profile or age of a whiskey, cask type, and those things. And it just that's a phenomenal bottle.
Curious, everybody in chat, do you have a favorite bottle of the year so far? Kind of, we're at the halfway mark. If for any bottle you've ordered so far. It's okay if you go past the year, if it's December, November, but try to think of January onward, and after the holidays, what is their favorite? I'm curious. It's funny, we talk about these whiskeys here on the channel, and I guess we talk to some members, but don't really get all the feedback. I'm always curious when I say things like the G 15.17 we tasted tonight. As I'm saying here, I'm like, I wonder how people are going to react to this. I never really actually I never close that loop,
Yeah.
So, Thomas Ray says Voluptuous Vortex, which was last month, right? That was the 15th.
Yeah, it was recent. Yeah.
That was last month.
Whiskey Franco wants to know if either of us are heading out to Dave Broom event in Denver.
No, that's Tom. Tom's hosting that one.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, Licorice George. I might be an outlier, but I'm loving the G16 Festival release.
Oh.
That's another one. We tasted that together here on the channel, and that was the first whiskey. It was early in the lineup, I remember.
Yeah.
And that festival lineup was so
6-year-old. Yeah, 6-year-old Thunderstorm in a Beehive.
Yeah, this is the only place you won't be an outlier. Let's put it that way. Kim says my favorite is one you haven't bottled yet that I had at the tasting panel in New York City at 41 in a Chinkapin cask.
Chinkapin.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. I haven't had it, but man, those 41s are killer. Andrew says 68.76, pleasantly pleasing, simply. I'm looking for people to say the same ones. Oh, but the Bonkers, the 39.223. Yeah. That one seems to be
a U.S. exclusive.
George Capwood says, I'd like to hold off judgment on a think like that until the facts are in. or until it's Advent calendar season.
Yeah.
Warren Buff says, I think I'm actually with Scott on favorite bottle so far. My neighbor is with Ben. Your neighbor has exceptional taste.
I was gonna say your neighbor's wrong.
You guys are great today. It's like a home-friendly experience. Everybody's happy. Everybody's sharing everybody. Everybody's wearing the same shirt.
Yeah.
Just enjoy. What are we going to wear the next time? I think we should go like...
We'll plot that one. You got any pink shirts?
So far, Luscious Velvet or a triple decker have been my favorites. Okay, there's the Luscious Velvet. Kim says the Bunkers was great. Mamuka says everything I bought this year was great. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. So yeah.
All right. Well, I think we better wrap her up.
We better do that.
Woo!
Thanks, everyone.
Distraction for the win.
I don't know about that.
All right.
Okay. Yep.
Thanks everybody that tuned in. Appreciate it. Been a great night. And remember, as we say on the back of every Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bottling, our whiskeys aren't for swigging, glugging, or knocking back. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.
I just knocked that one back. I also glugged it too.